Good evening, America. This is US Daily Updates, bringing you the stories that are shaking the nation tonight. And I must warn you, what you're about to hear is disturbing, shocking, and deeply troubling for our democracy. Tonight, we begin with a story that has ignited nationwide fury. Protesters have taken to the streets across America, not just with signs and chants, but with powerful art installations that are impossible to ignore. And at the center of it all, the Trump Epstein scandal that refuses to go away. On the National Mall in Washington, D.C., just steps from the Capitol, a massive 12-foot statue appeared. It showed former President Donald Trump and convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein holding hands like children. The inscription? In honor of Friendship Month, we celebrate Trump and Epstein's bond. But that's not all. Just last month, another installation appeared, a giant replica of what protesters claim is Trump's 2003 birthday note to Epstein, complete with a crude drawing. Within hours, hundreds of angry Americans covered it with messages condemning the former president. One protester, Chris Fyan, captured the mood perfectly when she asked, "Where is democracy when the rich pedophiles are free? We, the people, are pissed." Let's talk about what's really happening here. During his 2024 campaign, Donald Trump promised American voters he would release the Epstein files. He said transparency mattered. He said the truth would come out. But after taking office, months of resistance, complete silence. It took Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, to force his hand. The vote? 427 to 1. Think about that. Only one member of Congress opposed releasing these files. When Trump finally signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act in November, what did we get? 300,000 pages, heavily redacted, critical information blacked out, names protected. And here's what makes this even more stunning. Trump's own MAGA base turned on him over this. When he told supporters in July to stop wasting time on Jeffrey Epstein, that nobody cares, his most loyal followers erupted in fury. Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec, all Trump allies, all angry. Even at the National Prayer Breakfast, the president called Republican Congressman Thomas Massie a moron, simply because Massie was fighting to release the files. At a prayer breakfast, ladies and gentlemen, so what's in these files? Flight logs showing Trump on Epstein's private jet multiple times. Emails discussing Trump spending hours with Virginia Giuffre, that sexually suggestive birthday note from 2003. No criminal charges have been filed against Trump. He denies all wrongdoing. But the questions remain, the protests continue, and Americans are demanding answers. Now to another crisis gripping the nation, violent immigration enforcement that has Americans from both parties outraged. In Minneapolis, video footage captured federal ICE agents brutally arresting civilians. We're talking about knee-to-face assaults. Officers pulling people from their homes without warrants. More than 300 anti-ICE protests have erupted across the country. Two innocent Americans, Renee Good and Alex Pretty, were fatally shot during these immigration raids. Minnesota state officials tried to get a federal judge to temporarily block the surge of 3,000 immigration agents. The request? Denied. And it gets worse. Journalists covering these events are being arrested. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon and independent journalist Georgia Fort were taken into federal custody for reporting the news. Georgia Fort asked a chilling question. How does it feel to see your colleagues arrested for doing their jobs? Think about that, America. Journalists arrested for journalism. Congress is now in a showdown over Department of Homeland Security funding. Democrats are demanding accountability. They want to rein in ICE. They're threatening to sue. Meanwhile, a 5-year-old boy named Liam Conejo Ramos was finally reunited with his father after mounting pressure from activists forced ICE to release them from a Texas detention center. One small victory in a sea of chaos. And now, a public health emergency that's spiraling out of control. The worst measles outbreak America has seen in over 25 years. South Carolina is ground zero. As of February 3rd, 920 confirmed cases centered in Spartanburg County. This outbreak started just 4 months ago in October. It has already surpassed last year's Texas outbreak, which took 7 months to reach 762 cases. Let me be clear about how serious this is. 96% of these cases are in unvaccinated children. Almost 90% involve kids, including 240 children under 5 years old. These are babies, America. Measles is one of the most contagious diseases on Earth. More contagious than Ebola or smallpox. An infected person can spread it for 4 days before they even show symptoms. The virus can linger in the air for 2 hours after they leave a room. Across the nation, we now have 733 total measles cases in 2026. That's in just 5 weeks. If this rate continues, we're looking at over 7,000 cases by year's end. There is some good news. Vaccinations in South Carolina surged 162% in Spartanburg County in January. State epidemiologist Dr. Linda Bell says this is the best month for vaccinations during the outbreak. But here's the terrifying reality. Measles cases are now being reported in ICE detention facilities. With crowded conditions and declining vaccination rates nationwide, health experts warn we could see explosive outbreaks in these centers, just like we saw with COVID. Let's talk about what else is happening in Washington because the controversies don't stop. President Trump recently posted a video depicting the Obama family as apes. Yes, you heard that right. Even Republicans condemned it. The White House defended it as a Lion King meme. On foreign policy, the president continues threatening Greenland, saying he wants to incorporate it into the United States. Denmark and the entire European Union have said absolutely not. Trump's response? Threatened 10 to 125% tariffs on European countries. In Venezuela, Trump authorized what some are calling an illegal military operation. President Maduro was reportedly kidnapped by U.S. forces. Trump declared, "I'm running Venezuela now," and seized 50 million barrels of oil. NATO allies are shocked. Democrats and some Republicans say this violates international law. Trump's approval ratings are mixed at best. Some Georgia voters give him an A+, others say they can't stand it anymore. In other breaking news tonight, Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, remains missing from her Arizona home. The FBI is investigating. A fake ransom demand led to one arrest, but Nancy has not been found. President Trump says there are strong clues. The Supreme Court has cleared California to use its new congressional map for midterm elections, a Democratic response to Texas's Republican-friendly redistricting. A federal judge in Oregon ruled that ICE agents cannot arrest people without warrants unless there's a likelihood they'll flee. And the Winter Olympics in Milan and Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italy are just weeks away, with preparations in full swing. Stock markets rallied Friday, the Dow up 2.2%, S&P 500 up 1.7%, the best day since May. America, we are living through extraordinary times. Protests in our streets demanding accountability. Public health crises threatening our children. Immigration enforcement that has citizens questioning their civil liberties. Political scandals that refuse to disappear. One protester's words keep echoing. The government exists at the will of the people, and we, the people, are pissed. The question is, will our leaders listen, or will the chaos continue? This has been U.S. Daily Updates. I'm Catherine Walsh. Stay informed, stay engaged, and above all, stay safe, America.